Hello, my beautiful friends. This is Shireen Purewal with the bchomegroup.ca, as you know, and a quick update here on the market and what's going on in Victoria. Besides the fact that it's been unusually cold this past week, I think it's got to pass. We're still doing much better than the rest of Canada, is what I hear. But, anyways, back to real estate updates. So I've been getting questions about renovations, questions about suites not being legal in a home, because I know some of you are looking to buy a home with a rental suite in it, and you had questions about that. All right, so where do I start? First off, I want to start off with what's going on in the market before I get straight down to updates on renovations and rough estimates of costs for renovating a home and suites that are not legal in homes. Update on the market right now, inflation is underway, guys. I put this in my newsletter as well. And by the way, sign up for my newsletter. Go to my website, bchomegroup.ca, so that you're registered to get those updates, monthly updates. Um, what we're seeing is developers coming back and they're saying, hey, you know the price I told you 3 months ago that this is for sale? Let's take that price up, because honestly, for me to either finish that home, it's going to cost me more and I'm not going to make as much, or for someone else to buy that home that's already built, it's going to cost them much more and I could cash in on that. I'm going to increase my price. So inflation is I know they may not announce it, federally or whatnot. It's underway. You see it at a micro level. So at your day-to-day level, when you start seeing price increases, it means inflation is in the works. Okay, let's be honest here. So inflation is underway as far as costs. So we're going to see home prices. I told everyone this spring we're going to see um, record numbers here in Victoria as far as price. Now, have we hit the peak? I don't know. No one has a crystal ball. As long as demand is there, and supply is short, which it extremely is short. I don't know if people are scared of listing their homes because they don't want people coming through with COVID, but we're seeing supply low, demand at all-time highs. I have realtors who joke, they're like, when you're looking for a certain type of home, I mean, we have a real estate group, and the guy's like, hey, I'm looking for a house with a lot, under $1 million. The guy's like, go to Timbuktu to find a property like that. You ain't gonna find that price point and whatever you want here in Victoria, just because prices have gone up so much. So and there's just not enough supply, that it's a seller's market. If you are a seller, this is your market. If you want to cash in, now's the time to do it. For the buyers, in certain price points, it's still strong, because if you're looking long-term, prices here have never dropped significantly and they've always gone up. um, you'll do well. I mean, I've invested heavily in the market here personally myself. So when I say that, I mean, I've done well for the last 10 years. And the way I see it is real estate has, always been a safer bet for me than the stock market. And money is cheap to borrow right now. It's all-time low interest rates, okay? And the banks doing their due diligence. It's not like the US, where like, oh, we'll experience a housing crash like the US. We are a different market to the US. The system here, for I don't know if you've gone through mortgage approval here. It's not easy. The banks here are doing their due diligence. They absolutely are. They're not just giving every Joe Blow a mortgage. They're qualifying you at higher interest rates in case rates go up, and they're making sure that you are able to make your payment. And for those one or two who go into hard times, when their home does get listed, hello, my beautiful friend. Sorry about that. I got cut off there for a second, but back online. Technical difficulties do happen sometimes. But anyways, back to real estate. Okay, so I spoke about the market, what's going on in inflation. Now to get to quickly on renovations. I'll go more deeply into these topics as time becomes available. But what I am being asked is, how much is it roughly to renovate a home and what's involved? Now, some do renovations without the permits. So they'll go in and just do a paint job. They'll take down a wall. They'll rip out the tub, put a new tub in. For homes, you can do this without getting permits through the city. Now, it's not advised as long as it's cosmetic and not structural, because the reason why you want permits in place and you want the city to check it is A, the renovation becomes legal. All right. And second of all, but bear in mind, there's lots of people who do renovations without permits. So I'm just going to put that out there. But also because an engineer comes and makes sure that it's done properly and it's done to code. So you're not taking shortcuts or trying to, I don't know, it's not structurally state what you've done. But for the most part, when I see renovations, I just see it being more cosmetic. They just come in, do full paint, change the light switches, the light fixtures, put a new kitchen in that doesn't involve structural changes, but just more cosmetic, rip out what's on the exterior. The moment you start ripping out walls and moving walls around, I really encourage getting a city permit to do that, because A, it makes it legit. B, it makes it structurally, you've done it properly, and the city has approved it that it's safe for someone to live in it, for including for your own safety. All right, so that's a key points there. For those who want to do a reno in the strata, it's subject to strata approval. Now, there are some condo buildings. This is good to know. I remember buying this condo in Bear Mountain, and it had carpet, and I was like, well, I want to rent this house, so I want to rip out the carpet and put in hardwood floor. They're like, oh, you have to seek strata approval, because the reason why all the units in this condo building put carpet is for soundproofing. So imagine it's a wood frame construction. Imagine if they took the carpet and the underlay off and put laminate. Ding, you drop something, the person underneath can hear it. It would drive the homeowner underneath crazy. So they put these rules in place. Say you can only replace carpet with carpet. Yeah, so some of these stratas, you're thinking all these renovations of what I'm going to do, and strata has to prove it, and they'll know because you have to book that elevator. And to book that elevator, you got to get strata approval. And to get strata approval, sometimes you got to get the permit. So doing a condo reno is completely different from doing a reno in a home. Obviously, it's a different product, but also the permission process and what you can do. Now, if you're just going to do, again, a cosmetic, I'm just going to put paint on, change some tiles, you could get away with it, but your neighbor may complain because of sound. So I would, with a strata, for sure, you have to let the strata know what you're doing as far as reno, so you get their blessings, and you go ahead, and nosy neighbors cannot complain to you about it. With homes, you could get away with a lot doing your renovations without permits, but I suggest doing permits. Always do it the right way, always pays off. Now, as far as cost, typically an IKEA kitchen, all right, I don't know how big your kitchen is going to be, how much reno, but I always say minimum 20 to 30,000 for a kitchen to be redone. Okay, the tiling, the counters, the cabinetry, all that, I say 20 to 30K. Okay, now if you're going to do it yourself, where the boxes are going to arrive from IKEA and you're going to assemble it yourself, let's discount that a bit, because I do know of some people who are handy and they're like, oh yeah, I've installed IKEA kitchens before. It may be less than that. I don't know to what extent you want to do a reno on how many square feet, but if you want to do a full reno, a gutter on let's say 2,000 square feet, you're looking at a cost at least 100,000, 100 to 150,000. And now with costs going up, probably more. It also depends how much of the work are you going to do and how much are you going to outsource. If you're going to outsource a lot, for sure 100K budget in there for work to be done. Okay, for a 2,000 square foot reno, significant reno, here in Victoria. Those are just, guys, again, I got to know the details. You got to get the quotes. But I just want to throw out there some general idea numbers so you have an idea of like whether it makes sense for me to even at that starting point to go down that road or not. Okay, and also there's approval processes. There's delays that can happen if you want to go through getting permission, whatnot. Sometimes you can jumpstart those processes as you're or like you're waiting for your home to complete on it. between when you have your subject removal, when you go through with the deal, and what do we call escrow or going to completion. You could use that time period to get all your permits in place, provided the seller gives you the blessings before they even got the money for you to go ahead with that. But I mean, if you don't and you've got the home now, and sometimes those processes can take time, you're looking at two months for permissions. Again, I like to be conservative, and you got to wait for those permits to come through, and you're paying a mortgage while you're waiting for that. But you can always get someone through in the meantime to prep the area for the work to be done while you're waiting for those permits to come through, and or rent it for a year and live in it until you get all those permits, and then move out for a few months, get all the renos done. There's different approaches you can take for a reno job. But anyways, guys, those are my updates on renos. Suites, I didn't talk about much about suites, but I'll get to that. So the question I got about suites was, Shireen, there's a lot of suites that are illegal, or non-conforming, or as they listed, they put in-law suite, right? Because you're not supposed to have a rentable suite, but you can have a mother-in-law or father-in-law suite. Implies, there's another kitchen. So the way I do these searches is I search on MLS for 2 kitchens, because if there's 2 kitchens, that means there's a separate living space in the home. So I do the search for 2 kitchens or more, and I pick up all the in-law suites, non-conforming suites, and you name it. All right, basically second place that you could rent out. And a lot of them in Victoria, a lot of them are non-conforming. But because there's such a demand, and there's such a demand for housing, first of all, for people to rent a place, and because mortgage prices are so high, you need a mortgage helper. Banks, I kid you not, are using the rental income from these non-conforming suites. They're using it. They send their appraisers through and say, give me a rental assessment on what the suite will get. I know it's illegal, but they need it for the income to qualify for this mortgage. They're using it. So yes, it's illegal, but these suites will qualify for mortgages. And there are lots here in Victoria. I believe, ask anyone, most of the ones in Saanich that I've seen are non-conforming. But they're aware there's a housing shortage, they're accepting it, and people are buying these homes, and you need that rental income sometimes to pay those mortgages. You absolutely do. So when you're buying a home for close to $1 million, yeah, that $2,000 or $2,000 rent you're getting downstairs, which some places are getting, helps with that mortgage payment. Absolutely it does. So anyway, guys, without further ado, those are the updates on quick thoughts on the suites and renovations and a market update. I'm going to try to go more in depth when time permits on each of these topics, and maybe get a contractor in to speak to you guys about these costs and roughly what his thoughts are on renovations and whatnot. Always get the subject matter experts involved. If there's a topic or question you have, please feel free to email me or at info@bchomegroup.ca, or leave a comment on my videos. I do check those out, although it gets busy. I'm sorry I can't respond, but I will try to get back to you guys as soon as possible. Cheers, guys. Be safe and wear your mask. Bye now. Take care.